Hey there, dreamers and doers. Amanda Rosazza here from Be the Black Sheep, welcoming you to a brand new episode of Magic PD, where we show you how to bring the magic home. Now, we have a super special guest on the show today. We have Dan Cockerell, who worked for the Walt Disney Company for 26 years. And here's the kicker, folks. This is what everyone loves. He is the former vice president of the Magic Kingdom. How cool is that? Dan, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Thanks, Amanda. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Thank you for being with us. Now, as you know, Dan, our mantra here is bringing the magic home. So we were wondering what you could share with us today, how we can bring some of that magic into our everyday lives.
Boy, well, working for Disney for 26 years, it's like, I think all companies, professionals and companies try to make it look easy, but it was a tough job. It was a busy job. It was a hard job. And there were nights when I'd walk in the front door and my wife would say, "Did you make magic today?" And then she'd hand me a cold beer because she could see on my face that it would have been a rough day. So, I think I was talking to someone recently and they talked about the fact that if you work in a job that's you like 70% of what you do, you have a great job. So I think, trying to chase and have these magical rainbows and pony days every day is, it's not really realistic. And I think you need to, settle into what a good expectation is, what you should be doing. But the thing I've learned over time at Disney is, there's kind of two ways I think to manage your life. I think some people subscribe to the compartmentalization. I'm going to compartmentalize. Work is one thing. My family's a different thing. My friends are a different thing. And I'm not a fan of that. I think integration is key. You have one life. You should have one calendar, and you should integrate everything you can. And, with COVID-19 right now, people are having to integrate everything. They're having business meetings from home, and the kids are running around making noise and the dog's barking, and people are having to, figure out how to integrate all this. And it's stressful because, everyone has like their work face and their home face. And I think the more you can let people be who they really are at work, that's what magic to me looks like. Let them be themselves, not have to hold back. Let them be able to express themselves and who they are. And that's a key to fitting into the right culture. But throughout my whole life, I've learned I have this concept of buckets. There's kind of three buckets I always think about. There's yourself. You got to take care of yourself first. When I do speeches, I always say, what do you think the most important thing to me is? Of course, everyone says, your family. I said, no. No, what? How can you say that? That's crazy. I said, my family is very important to me. I'm most important first, because if you don't take care of yourself first, you're no good to your family. You're no good to your job. And so whether that's getting enough sleep, eating right, exercising, dealing with stress, being organized, having the right mindset, that's extremely important. Second is family, and third is, career, being able to make a living. So I think if you have if those are my clear priorities, that's how I think about my life. And I think if you can, I'm not going to say your buckets will be the same, but you clearly have to decide what your priorities are, because you can't do everything. You have to cut down, sacrifice some things, and decide what's really important. And once you've done that, support those things. Every week, look at how much time you're spending on yourself, how much you're spending on your family, how much you're spending at work. And if you can get those things right, if you can figure out what your priorities are and balance your time and your actions accordingly, that's my definition of magic. I think that's how you can bring balance to your life, because you'll feel much better about yourself. And, give yourself a break. Everyone wants to be great and do everything. It's just not possible. And so making those hard decisions and sacrificing, I think, is key.
Absolutely. And how would so if someone is like, that is the most amazing thing I've ever heard, I want to make that happen in my life, where would you recommend they start? What is an activity or something they could sit down and do to get that ball rolling?
No, it's a great question. So I'll share one story I've heard one time. You hear about people who are trying to get fit, right? They haven't worked out in years. Maybe they're overweight. They just have no motivation. And people tell them, you know what? The first step is set your alarm in the morning, get out of bed, go down the stairs, and then go back to bed or have breakfast. And the next day, go downstairs and get dressed to go run, and then go about your day. And the next day, go get dressed to run, put your sneakers on, And the next day, do all that and walk out your front door to the street and walk back inside, and just take a little step further every day. Because the key is not going out and saying, I'm going from 0 to running a marathon. The key is you have the self-discipline to do something every day. And it doesn't matter how small that step is. And the smaller the step, the better, because it's doable. And if you can just take that first step and say, you know what, I'm just going to actually get out of bed, you're 80% of the way there. You've overcome your mental state, and you've overcome your mind, and you've overcome maybe your lack of self-discipline. At least do that. And once you start creating a habit, it gets much easier as time goes on. And, I know you like to exercise. You start to crave that. Once you get a habit, you want to do it all the time, and you start to get enjoyment out of that. So I think you have to start small, but you got to do something. So you say, okay, you know what? I'm going to get up every morning and I'm just going to walk down the stairs, and I'm starting there. I'm going to build up from there. I want to be a better spouse. So I'm going to put a little reminder on my calendar every week, sit down with my spouse, my wife or husband, and say, hey, let's talk about how we're feeling about things, and just have that conversation, because it's so easy not to do that. We get so busy. The emails are coming in, the text messages, the kids are running around. And so if you really want to have a great relationship with your spouse, put time in your calendar to have that conversation with them. Just start with that. So I'm telling you, you open that little door a little bit, it's going to swing open and all of the great things are going to happen. If you want to be a better performer at work, figure out what you need to do. Maybe you're in your office too much. People are telling you, we don't see you enough. Put on your calendar, you know what, I'm going to get outside 1 hour a day. I'm just going to walk around my operation and see my people and have a conversation. And just maybe it's starting with 1 hour a week because you're so busy, and slowly work it up from there. So start small, start with small goals, but do something every day to support each of your goals. And that's how it builds up. Someone asked me one time, this expression, how do you eat an elephant, right?
Yep.
How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time. Exactly. And you got to start small. Everyone, I think the problem is they just want to turn the light bulb on and just start, and they start too fast. They burn out, and then they kind of quit again. So just start with these small things. Make yourself feel good about being able to achieve small goals and work up from there.
That is perfect advice. Now, Dan, thank you so much for your time today.
Sure.
Now Dan is very active on LinkedIn, and he has his own podcast, and he's just released a book. Now, where can the folks out there find you? Because there is so much, you just have so much to give, and I know people are going to want to follow you and find you out there.
Well, I appreciate that, Amanda. So we have a brand new website we just launched last week called cockerellconsulting.com that features both my wife and I. And there's all kinds of information there. You can sign up for the podcast. You can see where article of the week I send out. Everything we do is on that website. And then right now, the book is available on Kindle on Amazon. So if you go to Amazon.com, you can download the electronic version of How's the Culture in Your Kingdom. I'm working all over the world to find publishers in all the different countries. So I'd like to get the hard copy out there. And so hopefully we'll be coming to Australia at some point. But if you'd like to get the Kindle version, it's there. And then it gets released in the United States August 11th. But cockerellconsulting.com is where you can find everything we're doing.
That is amazing. Thank you so much again, Dan. And thank you all for listening today. This has been another episode of Magic PD. I'm Amanda Rosazza from Be the Black Sheep, and I'll catch you next time. See you later.